Cali X Boxing 2.0. Happy Hump Day. My apologies for the later start. We're supposed to start this at 11 Central. We're starting at about 11:31. Central was doing some basketball training. And you're going to see just headed in, sweating already. So it is what it is. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button as y'all come in. Always hit the like button before the show even starts. One parade in the building, 10-4. I'm not even sure what that means. And we are starting the show. So appreciate everybody for coming through. Appreciate all of the archive views I've been getting. And remember, be leaving your comments below during the archives. We have several people leaving comments below in the archives. With all the views we've been doing, leave more comments. You know, we'll get to them. I'll see them. I'll see most of them anyway until I log through them, and make sure you're sending emails to hcpboxingtribe@gmail.com because I've been sending out the email alerts. So email alerts, the morning newsletters, I've been sending out press clippings on what people should be paying attention to out there in the boxing world, trying to do the work for you so you don't have to do the work, and it drops directly to you. RIP to the Iron Sheik. And I'm not a wrestling fan, so I don't know really who he is, or if he passed away. I'm just not sure. Munguia is fighting too, and no one gives a damn his fault for his level of competition. Now, see why I would disagree with that. I would disagree with that because that fight is selling well from what I'm hearing. That fight is going to do a good live gate from what I'm hearing. What is clear at this point that Munguia is a good live draw. I'm not sure what the ratings will do on DAZN, but what I know is they're putting the fights with Munguia where they belong. They're at least keeping him busy, and people are showing up. They're opening up the top level to this arena, which they don't normally do. The fight is selling. The Munguia fight's selling. Munguia versus Derevanchenko. Now, the thing with Munguia versus Derevanchenko is what? Derevanchenko is one of those barometer opponents. We'll see how he does as compared to Charlo, as compared to Golovkin, right? The issue with that is Derevanchenko is a much different fighter now than when he fought those guys. All right, so it's a bit of a flawed concept, but at the same time, they're playing the similar opposition game with fighters in and around his weight class. The issue with Derevanchenko as a fight, on the surface, it's an okay fight, but people wanted something else this fight. People wanted a Charlo. People wanted, a Janibek, multiple different guys that weren't Derevanchenko at this point. That's the problem with the fight that is rubbing people the wrong way. But at the same time, I understand why Golden Boy is keeping this thing going, because no matter who he's fighting, he's selling. People are showing up. People are showing up. He's a live draw. How you got a members area? Have you got a members area to join? What I have is the hcpboxingtribe@gmail.com. You'll see it down there. And I go directly to people. And I'm not selling anybody anything. And nobody's going to see your email. I use the BC, not the CC. Nobody's going to see your email. It's only, you'll see my email address. I'll see your email address. That's it. And I'm going directly to the consumer instead of going through the algorithms. The reason I'm doing that is not to sell anybody anything, because people see mailing letter, email, and they see, oh, he's trying to sell. That's not what this is. What it is you can't depend on the YouTube algorithm. The YouTube algorithm is terrible. I don't see the comments. People don't see my comments when I comment back a lot of times. People aren't getting alerts. So I'm trying to go directly to people to show them, hey, the show is going live right now. The show is going live in an hour, etc. So people see it directly, because everybody sees an email. They don't necessarily see the show alerts on YouTube. Twitter is very flawed. Instagram is extremely flawed. TikTok, even more so flawed. It's just hard to get that direct contact with people. So I hope the mailing letter solves that problem. Shout out HLD. Is it true Andre pulled out from a Derevanchenko? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. He pulled out of Derevanchenko fight along with a lot of other fights. Did y'all see the Sampson interview when Sampson is talking about who Benavidez is going to fight next? And they bring up Andre, and he's like, Andre, that guy can't sell 2 tickets. He literally cannot sell a ticket. Why would we fight Andre? And it was funny because it's Sampson acting like Benavidez is an A side now, which he is when it comes to these other fighters. But The ironic thing is I'm told that this type of behavior is bad when it comes to Canelo with the CDS sufferers, the Canelo derangement syndrome sufferers. We say, oh, Canelo shouldn't be talking like that. He should be fighting this guy and this guy. What when Sampson's doing it with Benavidez is acceptable. It's okay. Why is it okay? I've gone over this phenomenon. Our expectations of fighters, how critical we are of them, tells us what we really think of the fighter. So the fact that people are highly critical of Canelo, the fact that people are becoming more critical of a Devin Haney tells us what we think of these fighters. The fact that people aren't as critical of Tank Davis and his behavior and what he's doing inside the ring, who he's fighting, tells us what we really think about Tank. We don't expect much of him. And I would argue the same thing of Benavidez. We just don't expect great things of Benavidez yet. We just don't. So when I see Sampson saying the same things Reynoso is saying, but not getting near the criticism for it, it tells us that our expectations of Benavidez aren't nearly as high as they are for Canelo, and there's a reason for that. We expect a certain behavior from Canelo. We expect a certain thing. We expect him to fight the top fights because we've become accustomed to that type of behavior. We don't expect that from Benavidez because we come to accustomed to the behavior that we're going to fight one tough fight in 9 years. In that one tough fight, we're going to marinate for 5 years. So what are we to expect of Benavidez at this point? You know, we expect what we're getting. All right. I would love for Benavidez to fight the fights. I would love for Canelo versus Benavidez to happen next. I would. I'm not going to jump to any conclusions right now. However, it's just funny to see Sampson saying the same thing a Reynoso or Canelo is saying. And Boo Andre, who? Get the out of here. Get the out of here. And acting like Morrell Jr. is a bigger draw than Benavidez, than Boo Andre, when not necessarily so. And I'd rather the Morrell Jr. fight than the Boo Andre fight. Don't get me wrong. It's just funny to see these things. And it's funny to see the backlash on one end and nobody paying attention on the other end. Okay, that's good to hear about Munguia. He really needs to fight better. Yes, he does. Munguia needs to fight better competition after this. And we've been over this. Munguia is the type of fighter, win or lose, people will show up. It doesn't matter if he loses. It does not matter if he loses. William Zepeda. Why have we not created another Arturo Gatti? Why has that not happened? For all the people who poo-poo, the Hall of Fame ceremony is this weekend. And everybody always brings this up. Oh, Arturo Gatti's in the Hall of Fame, so this guy should be. It's been 15 years since Arturo Gatti was an active fighter. Where's the next Arturo Gatti? Where is he? Where is he? Why are we not creating more action fighters? Why are we not unleashing action fighters? Why are action fighters very seldom in action fights now? These are the guys you can get most creative with. The market is forgiving with these guys. Let them be action fighters. Let them be in action fights. And who cares if they lose? Who cares if Jaime Munguia loses? I don't care. Who cares if William Zepeda loses? I don't care. I'm going to be there showing up to the next fight. As long as you put this guy in action fights, match him properly, give us entertainment, and then every once in a while you step him up. But you got to every once in a while step him up. That was the key ingredient to Arturo Gatti. It was action fight, action fight, action fight, step up. Action fight, action fight, action fight, step up. You could put him, he could have made $2 million per fight fighting the Thomas Domgards of the world. Instead, he steps up, fights Mayweather. Everybody knew he was going to lose that fight. He steps up, Oscar De La Hoya. Everybody knew he was going to lose these fights, fellas. But he did it. He did it because he realized it's a sport at the end of the day. We have to treat it like the sport. We have to try to be the best, right? Even though our ceiling is low, we have to try to be the best. And that's what they have to start doing with Munguia. That's the key ingredient that's missing. Keep him active. Fight him quarterly. Doesn't matter against who. Keep him in people's faces. Highlight real KOs. Every once in a while, you step them up. And they're not doing that. And why is this fight at 168 instead of 160? I would argue because they're angling for a possible Canelo fight. I don't think it's hard to see. I don't think it's difficult to see. I want to join to contribute donation. No. You don't need to donate anything. And nobody needs to give me anything monetarily. Nope. Don't need to. I'm good monetarily. You don't need to do that. Just show up, support, hit the like button, subscribe. That's it. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything through the email list. I don't have, as you see, I don't have cash apps up. I don't have GoFundMe's or whatever people, OnlyFans and all that stuff. And what's the other thing that people, I don't have any of that. You see it right here. This is it. I'm on YouTube. I try to get to people directly on the mailing list so I can send them stuff, but you don't need to send me anything, man. I'm good monetarily, no contributions, none of that stuff. Appreciate it though. Munguia is a huge regional draw. Los Mexicanos support him very well. That's right. And you build regional out. Works every time. What up, Cali X? What up to you? Wayne Zapata could be like exactly. He could be like Arturo Gatti. We need to create more Arturo Gattis. When's the next Arturo Gatti coming? For all the people out there telling me that Arturo Gatti does not belong in the Hall of Fame, where's the next Arturo Gatti? It's 15 years now. Where's the next one? When's he coming? We had action stars before him. He was the action star. When's the next action star who's going to show up quarterly, show up 2 to 3 times per year and deliver entertainment to us and occasionally step up? Where's that guy? Where is he? Our Americans have become divas. Oh, I got something right here. Hold on. That's a good segue. Americans becoming divas. Let's see. This press article right here. This is talking about the Saudis, and I want y'all to pay attention to this because what the Saudis are doing are making a move in the sports world. They've been doing it since 2016. Just look at what they did in golf yesterday. LIV with the PGA. LIV with the PGA. Imagine this. Last year, the PGA was telling their members, do not sign with the LIV. It's blood money. We are never going to merge with these people. Stay away from it. And then a year later, what do? They merge with the LIV. And guys like Tiger Woods turned down $800 million deals with the LIV. Tiger Woods could have been the biggest paid athlete of all time. And he turns it down. The Saudis are making moves, fellas. And what makes boxing intriguing to the Saudis is it's decentralized. They can get to it easier. And they can work directly with the athletes instead of going through commissioners. Alexander Usyk just secured a big bag, huge bag with the Saudis. And now all roads at heavyweight lead through Alexander Usyk, which is hilarious to me because I've been told for a year now that Tyson Fury is the big fish at heavyweight. Not anymore, because what are they saying? Skills Challenge, who Usyk just signed with, is saying, look, we're gonna present Tyson Fury with the take it or leave it deal. He can take it or leave it. Enough with the games. Enough with the social media posturing. You're going to take this deal or leave it on the table. That's it. All roads now lead through Alexander Usyk, who has, 3 belts? Saudis are making moves. Keep an eye on that. And it further drives up the price of what these fighters are making. A lot of fighters who aren't involved are going to get FOMO, fear of missing out. They're going to try to chase the Saudi bag. And in doing so, it's going to further drive up the price, which, what is that for us when it comes to boxing fans? How does that affect us? One, we start to get more of the fights. We want the bigger fights, but we get them we get fights less seldom. We're going to have more inactivity, fellas. More inactivity. As fighters get bigger bags, we're going to see them less often. All right, so that's what you need to pay attention to in the interim, in the short term, and we'll see how it plays out long term. But pay attention to those Saudis and what they're doing. Let's see. Floyd has convinced his fans that they love hit and don't hit style. If they say they don't, they feel they've betraying Floyd in the LDBC. Yeah, Munguia is being moved kind of like Tank. He's a big gate draw. Why risk the golden goose is the Oscar De La Hoya mentality. Let's see. These are all the odds. And we got a ton of fights this weekend, fellas. Ton of fights. Xander Zayas is back. Jermaine Ortiz is back. Shushu Carrington is back. That's all on the undercard. Shane Mosley Jr. versus Ballard. You got Charles Foster against Ismailov. You got Adrian Broner versus Bill Hutchinson. Callum Walsh versus Carson Jones. Carlos Canizares versus Daniel Madelon. Manuel Flores versus Walter Santabanos. Munguia versus Derevanchenko. And you got Sonny Edwards, Andres Campos. You got Taylor versus Lopez. This is an action-packed weekend. Action-packed weekend. Crowd always showed up, Gotti, no matter what. Yep. No matter what, they showed up. Enjoying all it takes of this fight. It's a guaranteed good fight no matter how you chop it up. The Takeover is back. The Takeover 2.0. Let's see how the sequel plays out. It's not Americans that are divas. It's only a certain sector of a certain group. Rory lost, what, $400 million? That he did. He was told that was blood money while he's wearing Nike. He turned down a $400 million bag. That has to hurt. Americans not divas. When guys like Ward show that grit and dedication, it goes unappreciated. Anyways, good morning to Chauncey Pearls. Skills challenge is going to change, no doubt, about the remains to be seen, whether it's for the better or the worse. Coffee and Boxing said, I heard the Saudis want Canelo versus Badu Jack. We'll see. We shall see. Salute to Bruce Goss, my guy. Like you always say, it's about the trade-offs. There are no definitive answers. That's right. There are no solutions, only trade-offs in life. Dudes fight once a year and expect to grow a fan base. That's it. As they drive up the price, you see less of the fighter and you see less of an organic base. That's what it comes down to. And the Saudis, from the article I read, are just tossing money around like crazy. And it's rubbing people from other parts of the world the wrong way. But as boxing diminishes in America, as the support for boxing wanes, what are we going to see more of? We're going to see more of growth in other parts of the world. The NBA, the support has been cut in half even more since the Jordan era. There's a reason they're chasing bags in China. Soon to be Saudi Arabia. Same thing in boxing. These promoters are realizing that our money is elsewhere now. There's still going to be big fights in America, but growingly, exceedingly, it's going to be elsewhere. And they're going to realize that. If you're a fan of boxing, you're not dialed in on just one fighter. You just bet on them and watch them all. That's right. Salute to Bruce. Give me Taylor by stoppage at plus 260. And I think that's what I'm going to play as well. Not that I think that Josh Taylor is going to win the fight by knockout. I just see value in that. What has happened to Teofimo Lopez in previous fights recently? He gets knocked down by Sandor Martin in what? Second round? He gets knocked down by Kambosos, what? In the first round? The Lomachenko fight, Teofimo starts off fast. And he's not forced to make in-game adjustments until the 8th round to the 11th. And then he grits down and wins the 12th round. It's the easiest fight to score. Clear 8-4 fight. Clear. Anybody who tells you different is lying to you. It was an easy fight to score. But he started off fast. Lomachenko started off slow. People will bring up the shoulder injuries or whatever. The fight was the fight. I don't care what you go in with. The fight was the fight. Same with Teofimo versus Kambosos. You step in the ring, no excuses. But he was not forced to make adjustments against Lomachenko. Versus Kambosos, versus Sandor Martin, he was forced to make adjustments that he never made. Never made. I talked to a content creator from YouTube yesterday on the phone, and he's telling me, I think what's going to happen is Teofimo Lopez is clearly flawed. He has bad habits. He's going to lose this fight. I think he's going to start to lose this fight badly. Okay, so far, okay, I got you. But then he says, once he loses the fight, he's going to drop his dad. He's going to find a new trainer. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Nope, nope, nope. I had to push back on that hard because I don't think Teofimo ever leaves his father. I don't think that ever happens. If you watch Keyshawn Davis versus Kid Austin Schofield go at it on that YouTube channel the other day, 90% of the interview is being conducted by Kid Austin Schofield's dad. The interviewer brings them on to talk to each other, and then Kid Austin's dad is sitting right next to him, and he's talking over everybody for 90% of the interview. And what does Keyshawn Davis say? He said, I have no issue with Kid Austin. I like what's going on with him. I've always liked what he does in the ring. The issue is his dad. It's the fathers who always get emotional. Keyshawn Davis, this is him speaking. It's always the fathers. Look. And he keeps saying it. Look at him. He's going off. He can't help himself. He can't let his son speak. He's yelling. He's getting emotional. It's always the fathers who get emotional. It's a growing issue with the father-son dynamic in boxing, trainer, boxer. It's the father seems to be the one speaking the most. In a lot of ways, it takes pressure off of the son in that they don't have to conduct the interview. The father can, but in other ways, it puts added pressure on the son to go out there and deliver because the father is throwing out wolf tickets that they possibly cannot cash. It was Teofimo Sr. who was initially saying, this is the greatest fighter of this generation. My son, Teofimo Jr. My son is the greatest fighter of this generation. Look at the pressure he puts on his son by saying that. If you watch the interview with Punch Drunk Boxing, what's happening? The one from a month ago when he's saying that ESPN is investing in black fighters now, whatever he was saying. He's in the back seat, Teofimo Jr. They're in a car. Teofimo Sr.'s on the front seat, with the camera, doing the interview. And Teofimo Jr. starts popping up, but Teofimo Sr. is the one lighting this fire. He's the one really ramping it up. And, I just think if you know how to read the room, if you're a father and you know how to read the room, and you've seen what your son has gone through after the last couple fights, and there's clearly something off. And he's publicly going through a divorce. You saw it after his fight with Sandor Martin. He's clearly not happy with the performance. He's asking for his son in the ring, and his ex-wife is refusing to give him his son, hand him his son in front of a national audience. And you just say, man, I feel bad for the dude because he's going through it publicly, and it's bleeding into the ring. As a father, I think you have to read the room and see that and say, look, man, we need to pull back on interviews, particularly on interviews with content creators who are clickbait happy and want to pull that out of you. They want to pull that chaos out of you, not to throw anybody under the bus, but I think people see it. The clickbait channels who want to get that headline and want chaos. Clearly, they'll say they want the best for you, but I don't think their actions speak that. And as a dad, I think you have to hit that camera and say, off. No, off. We're not doing that tonight. Bob Arum's given an interview on 3 Knockdown Rule yesterday, and he's explaining to them it's not Top Rank, who, by the way, Teofimo has 2 more years with. It's not Top Rank that Teofimo has an issue with. It's ESPN that he has an issue with. And he's explaining to Teofimo, look, you have to have thick skin. You're a fighter. You have to tune that stuff out. But he's telling Teofimo, Tim Bradley is not going to be at the fight Saturday night because specifically it's Tim Bradley that Teofimo has an issue with. His commentating, whatever. Because Tim Bradley's one of the few commentators out there. People can say what they want about him, hot, cold. I understand that. But he'll speak his mind, even if it goes against company policy. Teofimo clearly has an issue with Tim Bradley. And what is Bob Arum doing? He's handling him with kid gloves and saying, look, don't worry about it. Tim's not going to be there. He's going to be at the Hall of Fame induction, the Hall of Fame ceremony. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. He's not going to be there. A lot is made about certain fighters being promoted by networks to be who they are not. We've heard about Golovkin, Lomachenko from people. A lot of people have been turned off on what HBO and ESPN made them out to be. Fair or not, I don't know. But the same thing is going on with Teofimo. When you get used to special treatment, fair treatment is seen as unfair treatment. I don't know what Tim Bradley said. Maybe he's just praising other fighters and his jealousy from Teofimo. I don't know. But once again, when you get special treatment for so long, fair treatment is seen as unfair treatment. Look at Tank Davis right now. I still got dudes in the comment section on YouTube, on Twitter, taking up for Tank Davis after what he's done even recently again. It's like, dude, what else do you need to see a privileged fighter, a privileged dude, both in and out of the ring? He's the most privileged fighter in the sport, Tank Davis. The most privileged fighter in the sport. Hands down. Hands down. This guy has handed Reggie titles. He's promoted as a 3-division champion when he's not. Speaking of company men, I see Steven Espinoza, I see Al Bernstein speak out all the ills outside of boxing that they feel are ills. Speak out on everything. But when it comes to Tank Davis, they can't once mention anything about him putting hands on females. Anytime. And this is the privilege I talk about. When you get special treatment for so long, fair treatment is seen as unfair treatment. When Tank Davis says the judge is being unfair, the judge clearly gives him directions. This is the place you stay at. It's called house arrest. It's called house arrest for a reason. You stay in your house, and this is the specific house I want you to stay in. And Tank does not stay in it. And he says, I need to stay at the Four Seasons. I need to stay at my $3.4 million condo because I need security. And my security can't fit in a 1-bedroom apartment. I don't give a damn. Do what the judge tells you to do. You got a slap on the wrist, dude. 90 days. Just stay there for 90 days and move on. And he doesn't. And then he does an Instagram live, which I guess you can get Instagram in jail. I don't know. That's news to me. He does an Instagram live saying, oh my God, oh, woe is me. The judge is being so unfair. The judge is being so unfair. She's out to get me. When you receive special treatment for so long, fair treatment is seen as unfair treatment. That's what we got going on with Tank. And it's what we got going on to a certain degree with Teofimo Lopez with ESPN. It's like, dude, they built you up. You got a Bud Light sponsorship. Things are going well for you. And you've earned it. You've earned it. But at the same time, man, you got to sack up. You got to be tough. You got to be tough. And stuff like that outside the ring shouldn't be bothering you. It's all bleeding inside of the ring. Before I get to comments, here's the thing that I love about Teofimo Lopez, because I don't want to make this negative on a positive week because we got a lot of fights. And I want to praise Teofimo Lopez and I want to praise Josh Taylor. They're giving us the fight. And they've consistently given us the fights. Track record, track record, track record, track record. They just have a track record of giving us the fights. Josh Taylor has arguably the toughest undisputed run of the 4-belt era, where he beats 6 undefeated fighters, something like that. I think I saw something where his last 6 opponents are 139-0 or something like that. It's crazy. It's crazy. He beats Baranchik. He beats Regis Prograis, who multiple guys in the division are now ducking and have ducked in the past. He beats him. Beats Jose Ramirez, undefeated. Fought Catterall. I felt he lost the fight. Catterall undefeated, has a root canal style, just a tough style to deal with. Now he's fighting Teofimo Lopez. He's delivering fights. Teofimo Lopez. I've been over this. This dude fought Lomachenko in an empty ballroom in 2020. Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez got together and decided, no, we're going to deliver this fight for the fans. We both want it. We both want legacy. We both want what comes along with the victory here. We don't have to do the excuses. Bubble, put us in a bubble. We'll go in a bubble. We'll train. We'll go in a bubble and fight. No live gate. No live gate. No live gate. And they decide to fight each other. While every other fighter out there at the time is hiding under the beds, these guys decide to fight each other in a meaningful fight. No live gate. And split $4 million. When they could have marinated the fight a year or two and made more money. Who's the first fighter to beat Nakatani? His name's Teofimo Lopez. Who's the first fighter to knock out Richard Comey? His name's Teofimo Lopez, and he viciously did it in the second round. It was a vicious knockout. And he follows that up by fighting Lomachenko in the middle of a pandemic in an empty ballroom. In a fight where he could have made more money had he done it a year or two later. Props to both Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. They earned it. Fighters, real fighters fighting the fights. It's what we want, right? It's what we say we want. He follows that up. Kambosos, the whole Kambosos stuff was a mess, but at the end of the day, Kambosos was better than we expected at the time. Bad performance from Teofimo, but once again, fought the fight. Fought Sandor Martin, who I think is going to end up being a better fighter than people expect, much like Jack Catterall. And now he's fighting Josh Taylor. I had people telling me, and I believed it when they were telling me this, against my better instincts, he's not going to fight a Josh Taylor at 140. He's not going to do it. He's a 135-pound fighter. He's not going to fight the fights at 140. He's not going to fight Josh Taylor. And what's he do? He fights Josh Taylor. What else do you need to see with this dude? No matter what we say about the thin skin, about the comments outside of the ring, and by the way, I'll also say this about Teofimo Lopez, and don't doubt me on this. He's a charitable dude. I know this personally. Don't ask me how I know. I know young girl with cancer who received a nice check from Teofimo Lopez fairly recently. I know her personally. So, charitable dude. So it's a mixed bag outside the ring. I understand he rubs people the wrong way for things he said. I get it. I get it. And this is where Teofimo needs to be careful, because prodigies, we feel like we have to bring them down. That's just our very nature as sports fans, right? Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods. We feel like these dudes are so high, we got to bring them down to earth. It's the prodigies that are, you love them or you hate them. They're divisive. Just by their very nature. Tom Brady, they're winners. Love them or hate them. For a guy like Teofimo Lopez, who is showing vulnerabilities, vulnerable fighters, vulnerable athletes are attractive to us as a market because we relate to them more. They're going through trials and tribulations in their life just like we are. They show limitations. They show a shorter ceiling. So we can relate to them more. And cheering for the underdog that you want to see get back. It's the Rocky story, right? You want to see them get up or you want to see them get back. Vulnerable fighters are attractive to the market. What I don't want to see Teofimo Lopez do is be so hateable outside of the ring that he doesn't benefit from that he doesn't benefit from his vulnerability. Because let's say he loses to Josh Taylor by decision this weekend. And we say, you know what? At least he gave me the fight. At least he gave me the fight. 2 losses now, but at least he's giving me the fights. And I'm still going to show up. He's an entertaining guy. I want to see this entertaining and vulnerable yet talented fighter try to get back up. And at that point, they become a guy you cheer for. Vulnerability is a good thing for boxers. They're more relatable. You cheer for them more. And what I don't want to see is Teofimo be so hateable outside of the ring that he can't benefit from that. And I'm going to get into style matchups in a minute. Keys to victory. Ward was grit and dedication. Josito Lopez was grit and dedication. Solly Myers. Teo Taylor spins butt official. The government had admitted their possession of UFC. UFOs and alien bodies. We're living in great times. Are they really, though? UFOs and alien bodies, or is that a distraction? We'll see. Josito, too. He's tough as hell. So which ward were you referring to, Andre? Let's see. All the sanctioning bodies will go away. We'll see. Let's see what else we got. Mickey was blood and guts. Yes, he was. Ward tough as hell too. Anybody taking up a career deserves respect. Let's see. Tio hasn't been the same since Cambosos. Do you remember what the mic picked up Teofimo saying after the Martin fight? He's like, yeah, do I still have it? Do I still have it? This is the reason that Josh Taylor, one of the reasons Josh Taylor is the betting favorite coming in, fellas. It's, yes, he's a natural 140 pounder, but he's got stuff going on outside the ring too. I felt he lose the Catterall. He gets a gift decision. 16-month layoff, injuries, fight being canceled, rescheduled, canceled. He's got stuff going on too, but I just feel Teofimo's, and I keep checking myself on this, because when this fight was first announced, I said, Josh Taylor's winning this fight. And I think Josh Taylor's going to win this fight, clearly, and he's going to put on a great performance. But as it gets closer, I keep saying to myself, am I reading too much into Teofimo's outside of the ring stuff and his clear mental deficiencies that are bleeding into his performances more so than Josh Taylor's as well, because he's going through stuff too. But Sandor Martin, it's just so vivid what happened. He's saying, and it's picking up on the hot mic, do I still have it? Do I still have it? Clearly, he doesn't like his performance. And on top of that, I can't get past the image of him reaching for his son, I believe it is, and his ex-wife just not giving it to him, just not giving him his son. And you can see it's going on publicly. It's clear as day. He's now chronicling it. I think Josh Taylor can better compartmentalize the issues, some of the criticisms he's getting than Teofimo. And I think we have reason to believe that at this point when he's, talking to Bob about Tim Bradley and ESPN. And I just wonder if Teofimo can compartmentalize all this stuff and go out there and put on another great performance like he did 3 years ago, because that guy doesn't just go away. He's there. He's there. That guy is there. He's there. Will the mental stuff overwhelm all of that stuff to where he can't put on another good performance? Let's see. Today's the 20th anniversary of Gotti Ward 3. It's also the 9-year anniversary of Cotto versus Martinez. Cotto won the lineal title. It's also the 1-year anniversary of Inoue defeating Donaire in the second fight. Inoue just putting him this. Oh, I got some Inoue news too, by the way. That in a minute. I saw all his fights. I don't see any videos or read any books, but Ward. All right, let me see what else we got. Salute to my guy, Puto Sor. Angel Garcia too. Let me get to, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got closer. Notifications ain't working again. That's what I'm saying. And somebody was asking me earlier, now that I got more people here, and I think notifications you can't rely on YouTube, and I can't rely on Twitter, and I can't rely on Instagram, TikTok. It's just a mess with the algorithms. Somebody was asking me earlier in the show, what can I do to contribute financially? Don't do anything financially. I don't need anything financially. What I would like to do, though, is try to grow the channel. So if you do one thing for me, please, hcpboxingtribe@gmail.com. Just hit me up with a subject mailing list, and I'll add you to the mailing list, and that way I can get to you directly. Because I'm telling these people on the mailing list already when the show is, when you can see me, and I know they get the emails. I know they see them. And nobody's going to see your emails. I'm not trying to sell you a damn thing. Nothing. I'm not trying to sell you anything through email. Nothing. I'm going to hit the BC button. Nobody's going to see your email. I'm just going to tell you when the show is. That way you can see when I'm doing the shows for the week. And on top of that, you get a newsletter every morning. I've been sending people out newsletters press clips of what they need to be paying attention to, etc. So if you do one thing for me, man, hcpboxingtribe@gmail.com. I ain't trying to sell you a damn thing. I don't need anybody to contribute anything financially. You got to upgrade the Boost Mobile. I've never had an issue with notifications. That's good. I appreciate that. Some people are getting them. Blasphemy, I haven't joined the mailing list. You damn Chauncey Pearls. I'm going to send you an email right now. Good. Because I know you don't use Twitter and I don't like Instagram. It's possible in order to get less tank drama in the game, guys like Ward can simply be appreciated more by the industry, but that's boxing business for you. It is. I hear that Devin Haney is going to be in town in New Orleans next weekend for the Regis Prograis fight. And Matchroom is going to offer him a fight with Regis Prograis in the future, possibly a 2-fight deal, something like that. What I love is Devin Haney, despite what we think about the scorecards for the Lomachenko fight, let's put that to the side. Devin Haney fought the fights. And now he's going to be receiving big offers from multiple promotional companies. And good for him. Bob Arum was on the 3 knockdown rule yesterday saying, I'm going to offer him the Teofimo versus Josh Taylor winner. I'm going to offer him a Shakur fight, and I'm going to offer him a Lomachenko fight. That's the 3 fights I'm going to offer him. Lomachenko rematch. Eddie Hearn's going to offer him Regis Prograis. I don't know how that's going to go, but apparently he's going to be ringside for the fight. I love the fact that a guy who fights the fights, goes through the fire, is going to get rewarded on the other side of it. It does hurt my little boxing heart in a way that Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia can do 1.2 million and Devin Haney versus Lomachenko can do 150,000 pay-per-view buys, if that's the accurate number. I got to be honest. It does, because one is real, one is manufactured, but it's where we are, right? It's where we are. But I like that Devin Haney goes through the fire and he's going to be rewarded on the other end of it. I like that. I like it. So good for him. I want to see more of that. And it gets to this comment here. It's a lot of times, it's not just the business. It's just not the casuals. More and more, it's guys who call themselves hardcore boxing fans rewarding a certain type of behavior at the expense of fighters who are really going through it. We spoke about that on Monday, me and D-Style. It's tough to watch, man. It really is. It's tough to watch when guys who aren't fighting the fights are being handed mythical victories against fighters who are going out and challenging each other and fighting the fights. And they don't look as good as far as the eye test because it's tougher what they're doing. They are fighting the fights. It's tougher to look great. When we pull fights off of paper from the theoretical world and put them into reality, all kind of stuff that we didn't think would happen happens. I've talked about this with Carl Froch. It's, as a boxing fan, it's one of the reasons I'm attracted to him, a Badu Jack type of fighter, is guys constantly upset the odds. Carl Froch goes on a 12-fight run in which he's the underdog in 8 of those fights, and he wins 10 of them. He wins 10 of those 12. If ever there was a poster boy for mythical matchups don't necessarily work, it's Carl Froch. It's why it bothers me still to this day when they do all these mythical matchups between Carl Froch and other super middleweights of other eras. They say Carl Froch lose that one, lose that one, lose that. Did you not pay attention? Did you not get the point of the career? Did you not get the point of the career? Tim Bradley, did you not get the point of the career? That this guy upset the odds multiple times. There are certain fighters who do that when they fight the fights. And if you put on the fights, you accidentally build guys out of nowhere who would have never thought they would do the things that they end up doing. It's crazy. It's a crazy concept. Just do the fights. Tank wins every mythical matchup. It's part of Tank Davis theorem. He wins all of them. And what I'm saying is we ain't doing that over here. We are not doing that over here. If you ask me who's going to win between Devin Haney and Tank Davis, I'm going to assume automatically that Tank Davis loses the fight. Why? Because he's not fighting those fights. 35-year-old Lomachenko, I'm going to assume that Tank Davis loses that fight. Why? Because I know for 6-7 years he hasn't fought that fight. 5-6 years, however long it's been. I'm going to assume he loses to Shakur Stevenson. I'm going to assume he loses to Josh Taylor. Why? Because Leonard Ellerbe told me that he brings nothing to the table. Right after they fought Matteo Barrios. What did Matteo Barrios bring to the table? A Reggie belt. What did Josh Taylor bring to the belt? All of the belts that to the table. All the belts that matter. And not only that, he's the bigger named fighter. What do you mean he doesn't bring anything to the table? So I have to assume they don't want to fight the fights for a reason. And I'm not going to hand them any mythical victories. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Appreciate this, Remy. What up, Calix, my guy? I hope you are well, and I hope you are well as well. I do. I hope everybody out there is well on this Wednesday. I hope everybody's getting it. Appreciate that super chat, man. Do not send emails about fighters who were exposed. Manning's podcast had Keith Idek on today. I guess Berlanga is a legitimate option for Canelo. Eddie could sell ice to an Eskimo. And we'll see. We'll see, Nano. What I would tell you is everybody just hold their horses. It's been a month since the Ryder fight. Trust track record. Trust track record. Trust track record. And if one of these fights, whenever the fight is announced, whenever that fight is, whatever the fight is for September, we'll react to it accordingly. But I don't trust anything at this point. I don't trust anything. Will it be Bivol? Will it be Beterbiev? Will it be Berlanga? Will it be one of the killer bees? I don't know. Will it be Badu Jack in Saudi Arabia? I don't know what it's going to be, man. So I'm just going to sit back and trust the track record. I'm going to trust that Canelo is going to give me the fights that I want. And if it's not one of the fights that I want, a fight that's not acceptable, a 2023 that is not acceptable up to Canelo Alvarez standards, I will react to it at the time. That's all I can do. But in the meantime, I'm going to trust the track record. I'm going to trust that all of this is public leverage, and we shouldn't be reacting to every little thing that is reported. That's all I can go off of. It's it. To me, Berlanga is not an acceptable opponent for September unless there's a December fight already lined up. That's it. And I've been public about that since Berlanga was signed with Matchroom. The only way Berlanga is an acceptable opponent is if somebody else is coming 3 months later. Pause. So if he fights Berlanga in February, there's got to be a fight in May. Something like that. So it's acceptable under certain terms when we put it in context. But if the year is Ryder and Berlanga, we'll react to that at the time. Believe me. Why do fantasy matchups for people in the same era? Insanity. And that's what we talked about Wednesday too, is you should not be doing the fighters that you do fantasy matchups for the most when it comes to other fighters of their era in their weight class. Those are the fighters who are not delivering. That's a good way to tell. So if we're doing these mythical, we don't have to do a mythical matchup for Haney versus Lomachenko anymore. We don't. We don't have to do a mythical matchup for Lomachenko versus a lot of guys. We don't. Why? Because he's fighting the fights. I have to do less mythical matchups for Canelo than I do for Benavidez. Why? Because Canelo's fighting the fights. Benavidez is not. The fighter that you have to do less mythical matchups for is the fighter fighting the fights. And Tank Davis, you have to do so many mythical matchups for him when it comes to his top peers in and around his weight class. Why? Because he's somehow avoiding all of them at the same time and somehow still getting credit. For the love of God, how is this dude on a top 10 pound for pound list? How? At some point, you have to prove it. Right? I had people telling me eye test. Yeah, Tank. When's it going to happen? When is it going to, am I crazy to demand that this guy actually go out and prove greatness? Is this a crazy concept now? Is it a crazy concept? I see Teofimo and Josh Taylor fighting this weekend. They're fighting each other. I don't have to do a mythical matchup for it. I don't have to do mythical matchups for Josh Taylor because Josh Taylor is fighting everybody in his weight class. Teofimo fought Lomachenko. I don't have to do a mythical matchup on who could Teofimo possibly beat the number one guy at 140. He's fighting the number one guy at 140. He's fighting him on Saturday. These are the guys I want to get respect. Like I said earlier, I could talk to the moon and back. And we could talk to the moon and back about all the deficiencies that Teofimo has, both in and out of the ring. Flawed fighter, bad habits. What I know is he's given me the fights and he's won big fights. He legitimately got on a top 10 pound for pound list. So did Josh Taylor. They legitimately got there. They worked their asses off to get there, and they won big fights to get there. They fought top competition to get there. They didn't scam the market to get there. It's organic versus artificial. It's a frustrating thing to see dudes get scammed by a clear scam. It's what I put in the mailing list. Stop falling for the scams. One of the things that I appreciate about the lower weight classes is this. Undisputed at super bantamweight, and I'm going somewhere with this, unified WBA champion Marlon Tapales, who owns 2 of the belts at 122, has been approved by the WBA to unify against the winner of Fulton versus Inoue after they clash for their titles, 2 titles, on July 25th. And where am I going with this? This is what I put on the mailing list this morning. It's the beautiful thing about life underneath, life south of 130, boxing south of 130, is it resembles a sport. Things happen fast. They happen quickly. Another news story that broke today was Lee Wood's going to fight Josh Warrington. They're looking for an exception from the sanctioning body to fight that fight. And after they fight the fight, they agree with the sanctioning body that they'll vacate the belt so Ray Ford can fight for the vacant title after. Things happen quickly in the lower weight classes. They move. We get the fights we want, whether the belts are involved or not. Belts that aren't fought for or defended get vacated. Example, Joe Cordina. Joe Cordina gets injured. It's immediately stripped from him. He has to fight to get it back. Whether you like it or not, things are moving quickly. At 122, Inoue is going to fight Stephen Fulton Jr. And what happens after that? Immediately, they go to undisputed against Tapales, if they can make that fight. Undisputed. Bob Arum is talking about, on the 3 knockdown rule yesterday, Inoue fighting in America next year once, and possibly fighting Robeisy Ramirez at 126. Aggressiveness. The pay scale is such, 130 below, to where it resembles more of a sport. It resembles more of a real market, an organic market, not an artificial market where prices are artificially inflated, like you see in the upper weight classes. So fighters have to fight the fights. They're forced to. They're forced to. And Inoue is getting paid. He's getting paid in Japan, I think eight figures per fight. Good for him. But he's still fighting the fights. Robeisy Ramirez at 126. Good Lord. If that fight happens. If he takes that fight, goodness gracious. I want to tell y'all this. Do not buy this shirt. This is on Errol Spence Jr.'s website. Smoking on Bud Tour, $64.99. And what I would tell you is avoid the scam. $64.99 for a shirt plus shipping is just not a good purchase, number one. But number two is don't buy something that's going to be handed out to African children for free a couple days later in August. Just throwing that out there. Avoid the scams. Avoid the scams. Benavidez Senior was interviewed. I'll send it. All right. Yeah, send that over to me. Man, send that to me. Yeah, don't buy that shirt, man. Why would you buy that? Why would you buy a shirt? Why would you buy a t-shirt for $65 plus shipping anyway? What would make you do that? And then you're going to buy a shirt that's not going to age well. Chauncey Pearls. Chauncey, are you going to buy that shirt? Chauncey's going to buy that shirt. I already know it. He's going to buy that shirt. He's going to have instant regret when he has to burn that shirt and then pay me whatever he has to pay me for losing that fight. Possibility of Inoue versus Neri. I don't know. Inoue you can do multiple things with, but I think they're going to jump weight classes with Inoue. They're going to try to jump weight classes with Inoue. Become undisputed at 118 and 122. Stop lying, Chauncey. You're going to buy it. The Errol Spence Jr. Smoking on Bud tour shirts are going to be over there in Uganda with the Buffalo Bills 91 through 94 Super Bowl champion shirts. I'm just warning y'all. I'm just trying to help, man. Don't buy those shirts. I hate when someone does a mythical matchup between guys who never fight. For example, Salvador Sanchez versus Benito Lopez. I've seen that one before. At least they're doing mythical matchups for fighters of the other eras. When you have current fighters in the same weight class not fighting each other, why the hell are we doing mythical matchups? If they're demand that they fight the fights. If we're doing a mythical matchup for it, that means we want to see it. It's in demand. Fight the fight. I mean, it's a crazy concept, once again, to demand that Tank actually fights a top 3 guy at lightweight since he's campaigning at lightweight. But as part of the Tank Davis theorem is we don't know where he's campaigning. Is he campaigning at 135, 140? When he moves to 140, no. I'm not a junior welterweight. Leave me alone. When he's at 135, Floyd's like, no, leave Top Rank over there. Let them do what we do. They do. We'll do what we do. What do you mean? What do you mean let them do what they do and let us do what we do? What do you mean? You're both in the same weight class. The people are demanding the fight. How about you fight the fight? No, but it doesn't make sense. And I've had Leonard Ellerby, my best friend, my BFF Leonard, has told me multiple times that I'm stupid, that I'm ignorant, that, I just don't understand the business side. I guess I don't. I guess I don't understand the business of what they're doing behind Tank Davis. I guess I don't. The 1.2 million he did with Ryan Garcia solves all of the issues from before. The 90,000 pay-per-view buys, the 200,000 pay-per-view buys. Everything's great now. They did a great job with him. They did a great job of moving Tank Davis. Yes, Leonard knows boxing. They're going to end up at the yard sales, I know. Let me play this clip right here. I forgot I have this. Remember one of the narratives that we squashed a while back when it came to Canelo Alvarez? One of the narratives that was floating out there from the people with CDS, Canelo derangement syndrome, was that he was holding up undisputed at 175. He's holding it up. Canelo, he was holding up undisputed at 175. For I don't know why they said this, why this narrative started, but he was never holding up undisputed at 175. And undisputed at 175 just isn't going to happen. Let me play this clip for you. This is Bob Arum yesterday on the 3 knockdown rule. Listen to what he says about Bivol versus Beterbiev, presented without comment, and then we will attack it, address it after the clip.
Bob, in August, Dmitry Bivol is going to need a fight. He hasn't fought this year. And your guy, Artur Beterbiev, is defending against Count Smith in August in Quebec City on ESPN+. Does the WBC edict involving Russia preclude Beterbiev and Bivol from becoming a real possibility this year, in your view?
Yes. Yes, the WBC has made its views known. I am very sympathetic to the WBC views. I am 100% support Ukraine and its fight against aggression. So I am not going to push a Bivol Beterbiev fight.
Of course not.
And then you might say, well, isn't Beterbiev a Russian? And the answer is no, not really, because he has had a residential visa in Canada for 14 years. So I look at him as being Canadian, and also he's Chechnyan. And the reason that Chechnya is still part of Russia is because Putin bombed the crap out of them and destroyed the place and had them succumb to his overwhelming military force. So again, I don't want to do anything that supports Russia in any way. So I applaud Mauricio for the position that he's taken.
Bob, things can change in this world. So let's say things lighten up over there and the BC takes away that ruling or that edict. Would then that change your view on the fight?
Yeah, I love the fight. I love the fight.
Sure, you do.
love the fight. I'm not gonna do it against principles that a lot of us hold dear. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Bivol. He seems like a nice fellow.
Yeah.
And Vadim Kornilov, who's his manager, is a terrific guy. But it is what it is.
Real quick, I don't know if y'all caught this. Let me play it back. Listen to the question real quick. Listen to this.
Bob, in August, Dmitry Bivol is going to need a fight.
In August, Dmitry Bivol is going to need a fight. I want you to pay attention to that and just keep it real. Just keep it to yourself. You know, just do with that what you want. The question, in August, Bivol is going to need a fight. Just keep that in the holster right there. I'll just throw that out there, number one. Number two, I couldn't disagree with Bob more on the WBC's ruling. And we've been over this, so I don't want to get into that too much, but I think it's just bullshit all around. Just all around. I couldn't disagree with the WBC and Bob Arum by extension here more. But I think this is all an excuse that Bob is using to keep Beterbiev. And this is just me talking. Boxing fan just speaking, giving my opinion. I don't think Bob ever wanted Beterbiev versus Bivol. And I'm not at all trying to take up for Bivol because we've been critical of some of the business moves that Bivol has made, particularly recently. Bivol had a great 2022. Bivol was fighter of the year in 2022, and I thought the clear fighter of the year. Bivol, in my opinion, is on that short list of handful of fighters that in and around their weight class, I see them as the most unbeatable fighters in and around their weight class. Inoue is one. Shakur Stevenson, another one, in and around 135, and Bivol in and around 175. I do these mythical matchups in my head. Once again, I got to do mythical matchups with Dmitry Bivol. And I think he would win them all. I think he beats Beterbiev. And I think that Bob has a good feeling that Bivol would be Beterbiev as well. Why do I think that? I remember when Bivol beat Canelo last year, 13 months ago. And what happened? People are saying Beterbiev's about to fight Joe Smith Jr. You know, if he beats Joe Smith Jr., then we've got a big momentum for an undisputed fight at 175. And what happens? We get to 2 days before Joe Smith Jr. fight, and all of a sudden we start hearing Anthony Yarde. And I'm like, what the hell? Anthony Yarde? Where did this come from? Anthony Yarde. They're going to fight Anthony Yarde next, Beterbiev? Why? We've got Bivol just beat the cash cow of boxing, the cash cow by far in Canelo Alvarez. Beterbiev comes out and destroys Joe Smith Jr. It was like a bear attack. It was like a grizzly bear just coming and attacking a kitten. That's what you saw with Joe Smith Jr. versus Beterbiev. And we've got the momentum for an undisputed fight between Beterbiev and Bivol. And what happens? Anthony Yarde pops up. I'm like, Anthony Yarde? What the hell? Anthony Yarde? Anthony Yarde? Why the hell would they do an Anthony Yarde fight? And then we get Beterbiev versus Anthony Yarde. I don't think they ever wanted to make Beterbiev versus Bivol. Maybe he feels financially it doesn't make sense. It's a hard sell between Russian and Chechnyan Russian, as he says, Canadian Russian, Beterbiev. And I think this is another excuse as to why the fight can't happen. I don't think it's any deeper than that. The WBC's ruling is stupid. It's ignorant, I think, in many ways. Many ways. Many ways is hypocritical. I'm not going to get into that. But I think Bob Arum is in agreement with this ruling conveniently in that Bivol's a nice man. You heard him. You heard him. Bivol's a nice man. So is his manager. They're nice men. Why are they being suspended by the WBC to fight in title fights? I don't get it. Why would you do that to a nice man? Why? Why are you doing that to a nice man? Bivol is just trying to make a living. He's a nice man. Why? Why is this happening? I don't think it's any deeper than, for whatever reason, he doesn't want Beterbiev versus Bivol. Doesn't want it. Doesn't want it. Beterbiev is almost 40. He better push for Bivol fight before it's too late. And this is the thing, man. Like, the good thing about boxing in 2023 is a lot of these fights are being made. Good, man. Like Spence and Crawford is being made, but these dudes, man, they give me a headache. They comment to me all the time. And then like, see, I told you Al Heyman was going to deliver the fight where, and you didn't trust. Dude, it's been a 5-year process. Don't you want things to move quicker? Shouldn't Spence versus Crawford have happened before Crawford turns 37 years old? And the fact that it's happening when Crawford turns 37 years old, doesn't that signal something in your head that maybe, just maybe, they did that for a reason? But Beterbiev versus Bivol is another one of those fights. To me, it's one of the 3 best fights, pure boxing fights that can be made. And it's not being made. Why? Why? And I'm going to be given all kind of reasons by the managers as to why it's not happening. But I have to assume that Beterbiev side doesn't want the fight. That's just going to be my assumption. I don't know. And I've been critical of Bivol. Listen to what Steve Kim is saying there. Steve Kim knows Bivol's team. He's going to need a fight in August. Just do with that what you want. He's going to need a fight in August. He hasn't fought this year. And that's Bivol's fault, is he should have fought a fight earlier. He should have gotten a first fight in. It's his fault. It's not pouncing on the momentum. Fight a fight. Get at least 2 fights in 2023. You were the fighter of the year in 2022, and you're going to bounce back and fight once? That was your plan? I hear his manager out there saying we're going to wait to see what Jaime Munguia's side is going to do. I would hope that was leverage they're trying to use publicly, because if you're waiting for Jaime Munguia to show up and you're Dimitri Bivol, good Lord. Jaime Munguia, you trusting him to show up and fight you? You should have got a fight in, and you shouldn't be publicly playing with a payday. Look, I understand Bivol beat Canelo last year. I get it. I get it. Look great doing it. But whatever they're offering you for a rematch, dude, you're Dimitri Bivol, and you don't have options. The only 2 fights that people want to see Dimitri Bivol fight is Canelo and Beterbiev. And his team has to understand that. His team has to understand that Beterbiev fight's not going to happen. I'm sure they knew Bob Arum's position before yesterday. What is your other option? Canelo Alvarez. And you're going to start playing games publicly. We don't like the money. We don't like the judges. We don't like the location. We don't like, dude. And I was told by people in who are around Bivol's camp that they could not believe that Canelo was taking the first fight with Bivol. They could not believe that Canelo was taking that matchup, and they were going to take whatever Canelo offered him. Why wasn't that the plan the second time around? Why? These dudes are being mismanaged, man. I'm telling you. And we're supposed to trust the process. We're supposed to trust that these managers are smarter than us. Okay? I think a lot of these dudes are being mismanaged. I think Tank's been mismanaged throughout his career. I watched Tank fight, and I want to give him all kind of mythical victories, even though I'm not. I'm not doing that bullshit. But I watch him fight, and for years I was saying, he's not fighting anybody, so I have to assume there are red flags behind the scenes. And then you watch him fight, and you're like, damn, this dude's great. He's a great fighter. I think he's just being mismanaged. And I hate to offend my BFF Leonard Ellerby. I hate to offend him. I don't want to do that. I like Leonard. You got to do a better job of promoting your fighter, man. I don't know. I'm supposed to trust the process over here. Bivol moving in for Canelo is such a moronic move on Team Bivol, especially if they aren't fighting Beterbiev. The move makes no sense. I don't understand what they're doing, man. I don't know what they're doing. What is Bivol's team doing? And Beterbiev his team does not want the Bivol fight. And Bivol has to know that. Beterbiev versus Bivol would sell out Montreal. This is what I'm saying, Nando. Like, they're saying that this two Russians can't sell against each other right now in this climate. Go to Montreal. They'll sell it. That's a fight town. Did you not watch Jean Pascal for years sell out Montreal? They will adopt any hometown guy from anywhere in the world as their guy. And they will show up and sell out an arena for this guy. Beterbiev versus Bivol would sell out in Montreal. I'm tired of hearing people say it wouldn't. This fight would sell. It's a big fight. I'm sure both of these fighters understand financially what they would get paid for the fight. They wouldn't demand too much. Just make the damn fight. Why in the hell is the WBC getting in the way of this? Why is Bob going along and being sympathetic with the WBC's ruling? I have to assume he doesn't want the fight for whatever reason. You're going to tell me that Beterbiev versus Callum Smith is a bigger fight than Beterbiev versus Bivol? Is that what you're going to tell me? Really? The timing of Spence's new management team says something about who made that fight. Heyman is a manager advisor, and yet he needed a new one to get it done. Who passes up a Canelo fight? I don't know. Apparently, Bivol's team passes up one. I think they're playing games, man. Like, you should be fighting the Pelidojo cash cow is what you should be. You should be fighting the ginger again. You got dudes willing to give up their left nut to fight this dude. And you're going to drop the bag. In a fight, you already beat the dude 9-10 rounds. Come on, man. I can't be empathetic to these dudes. It makes sense in the Middle East. I'm sure they would make that fight there. Dan Raphael said there's zero guaranteed money for either Spence or Crawford. Don King couldn't even get away with that shit. Yeah, and I'm hearing conflicting reports on that. I'm hearing that they both got 8 figures guaranteed. I'm hearing none of them got guaranteed money. And then I'm hearing that Daniel Kinahan offered or put up Terrence Crawford's side. I'm hearing all kind of things. So I don't know what to believe. Where's the promotion for Spence versus Crawford? I know Spence was in Dallas yesterday. He's wearing a Dallas gear, and I would not put on Dallas Cowboys gear if I was Errol Spence, because that is a curse. When's the last time Dallas Cowboys won a big game? I'm just saying. No man giving up their nuts. Come on, man. Montreal been a fight town. Would like to see the Beterbiev Smith fight, but they need to make Bivol fight immediately if Beterbiev wins. I don't know where Bivol goes, man. I don't know where he goes. I'm deleting comments just so you can see them. Beterbiev Smith is selling well, apparently, too. Imagine it being Bivol. That fight can sell in Montreal. Don't let anybody tell you differently. Don't let anybody telling you that you can't market that fight in this current climate, because you can, and it would sell out Montreal, and it'd be a big fight. One side does not want this fight, and the other side is being stupid when it comes to negotiations and managing their guy's career. It's just mind-blowing and confusing to watch as a boxing fan. Don't know. But back to the guys fighting the fights. Teofimo Lopez, Josh Taylor. We want to be positive this week. This is the betting odds. Josh Taylor -175, Teofimo Lopez +150. I saw some of the prop bets. You can get Josh Taylor plus 260 by a stop, or plus 360, I think, plus stoppage. First stoppage is what I saw. So that's an interesting prop bet to look at. Over under is 10.5 rounds, with the over being minus 220 and the under being plus 180. So the odds makers are leaning towards a Josh Taylor decision, is what that's saying. Over under set at 10.5 rounds, with the over being over 2-1 favorite for cashing out. So that's why I asked this poll question. Let me pull this up. The poll question was, how does Taylor versus Lopez end? 51 votes say stoppage. 51 votes, 59% say stoppage, 41% say decision. So in the chat, I want y'all to back that up. Why do you think this is a stoppage fight? Why do you think this is a stoppage fight with Taylor versus Lopez in the chat? The people who voted for stoppage. You think this fight's going to be a stoppage fight? You think it's going to be a knockout TKO? Why do you feel that way? Because the trend seems to be Taylor by decision is the smartest play. The smartest play doesn't always work out. Team Batman Boxing votes stoppage. This fight is going to be dramatic at the very least. Both guys really need this dub, crossroads. And that's the word I was looking for when describing this fight. It's going to be dramatic. Because I think you're going to get the best Teofimo Lopez sharp early in this fight. He knows he needs it. He knows he needs to put on a great performance. He knows when he starts fast, I think he instinctively knows when he starts fast, he's not going to need to make as many adjustments later on in the fight. He's banking early rounds, getting to people early. He did that with Lomachenko. His greatest victory, his greatest performance, Kome, Nakatani. When he was great, he was starting off fast, and he didn't need to make adjustments later on. Now, once again, that's 135. Less of a safety net. Now at 140, he's going to have less of a safety net. Bigger safety net back then. More of the bad habits aren't going to show, or they're going to be offset by extreme athleticism and power at 135 than they will at 140. The bad habits are going to show more. People will be able to take advantage of them more, naturally bigger fighters. Kambosos, Sandor Martin both got to Teofimo early. Josh Taylor, I think, sees that. He's a smart fighter. He's going to come after Teofimo Lopez quick as well. Both these guys are going to start out the gate fast. Fast. And that's why this word right here is relevant. Dramatic. That's what I was looking for. Dramatic. It's going to be a dramatic fight because both fighters know they need it. They know they both want to get back on top 10 pound for pound lists. They both need momentum back desperately. And they both know when they start off fast, they're at their best. But here's the thing. Why does Josh Taylor have a bigger pathway, wider pathway to victory? Is I'm just telling y'all, man, I've been saying it. He knows how to make in-fight adjustments that Teofimo Lopez hasn't shown in the near past that he can't do. He can't make in-fight adjustments, fellas. He can't. His team doesn't know how to do it. So when things go left, they don't know how to deal with that. It's just chaos. The Sandor Martin fight, the Kambosos fight, you look at the corner during those fights in between rounds, it's chaos. It's chaotic. And that's never going to go away because that dynamic is never going to go away. Junior is never going to leave Senior. He's not. He's not going to leave his dad. There's a generational curse, I think, that was passed on from Senior to Junior. It's chaos. It's chaos. Obviously, he passed on a lot of talent to his son, a lot of boxing wisdom. He got him to championships. He got him. He guided him to beating Lomachenko. But the other stuff also came with it. It's all of the emotional, all of the outside of the ring stuff. And that's what's clouding him from getting back to that guy that did that 3-4 years ago. There's a difference between getting there and sustaining it. Great fighters can get there. Special fighters can sustain that. I saw somebody, and I'm not going to mention the name, on Twitter saying that Vladimir Klitschko and Bernard Hopkins, that their runs are really overrated and overvalued. Because look at the guys that are on the resume. They had weak championship runs. But they're not able, these are generally younger guys who are saying stuff like this because they're not able to put it into proper perspective what was going on at the time, who these fighters were at the time that they were fighting, that they just don't know the names. But also, they're not putting in a proper perspective that these guys were 2 to 3 times per year showing up and defending. It's sustainability. It's one thing to get the championship. It's one thing to get there, to value the things that matter, the real belts, and then defending against mandatories, unifications, defending, unification, defending. They defended what they had constantly against the best opposition in the rankings, constantly. And then they had other big guys, particularly Bernard Hopkins, in and around his weight class, who wanted no part of him. So he had to fight some of these fights. He had to defend because he didn't have the luxury of fighting some of the top fighters of his time until guys like Oscar De La Hoya, Tito Trinidad showed up at the door. And I value those careers. Why? Because they sustained it. They constantly showed up. They did what they were supposed to do as professionals. And they did the best they could with what they had and sustained it and defended it. And particularly Bernard Hopkins, he defended it. He knew deep down that I have to keep these belts. And at some point, they're going to become valuable to guys like Oscar De La Hoya and Tito Trinidad. And if I just keep a hold of these belts and fight the best opposition available to me, and a lot of that is better than these younger guys are making it out to be, that eventually I'll get the big fights. But they defended. We don't see guys winning titles now and defending. One of the comments the guy put was, if Fury, Joshua, and Wilder were in that era, they would have done the same exact thing and went undefeated, and they would have never lost like Klitschko lost early on. They would have never lost. I'm saying, what are you basing that off of? It took 7 years for Deontay Wilder to fight a fight. It took 7 years for Deontay Wilder to fight someone with a pulse. And in his biggest fights, he stumbled. Bermani Stavern, Luis Ortiz, that's what you've got. That's his career. And losses to Tyson Fury. That's his career. Anthony Joshua loses to Andy Ruiz, Alexander Usyk. Tyson Fury, how many times has Tyson Fury defended a belt? When does it happen? So what are you basing that off of? But sustainability doesn't seem to be valued the same way now that it was back then. Sustainability. And when I see a Teofimo Lopez, when I see a Josh Taylor, it's whoever wins this fight on Saturday night. There's another key to this, is they're going to have a chance at sustainability. We're going to see that fighter and say, you know what? I think they can sustain this thing. Maybe we're reading too much into what was happening outside the ring. Maybe we're reading too much into Teofimo Lopez's ills in his personal life. And he still is that guy. He's still that dude. Maybe he was injured against Kambosos. You know, if he wins this fight, these are the discussions we're going to have. Maybe he was seriously injured against Kambosos. Hey, he didn't look great against Sandor Martin, but he won the fight, and that's a tough style. Then we're having a different discussion when it comes to Teofimo Lopez. Josh Taylor, same thing. The Catterall fight, that was just a tough style. It's just a tough style. He's back. He's back. Whoever wins this fight has a chance of sustainability, winning a legit title at 140. In Josh Taylor's case, keeping his belt at 140. Bigger fights. the winner of this fight could possibly land Devin Haney fight. There's a lot on the line here, a lot on the line. And when it comes to stylistic play and how this fight's going to play out. And by the way, man, one last push for likes. Y'all make sure to bang that like button. Y'all do one thing for me, two things for me. Hit that like button and also hcpboxingtribe@gmail.com. That's two things. I don't ask for any financial support, none of that stuff, man. I'm not going to hit y'all with cash apps and all that stuff. Just those two things. But Josh Taylor, great with the uppercuts, loves to fight on the inside, loves to get going, loves his hands free. Jack Catterall did not allow that. Super cagey, was wrestling in their MMA style, was not allowing Josh Taylor to get in his range. Teofimo Lopez does not fight that type of fight. Teofimo Lopez does not like to fight on the inside, but he likes to keep his hands free. He's going to have to find his range in this fight. That's his tough part about this. But Josh Taylor, in liking to fight on the inside and keep his hands free and land those uppercuts, soloplex, upstairs as well. He's smart at it when he gets on the inside because he'll get his front foot on the outside of the orthodox fighters' front foot and set up those southpaw power shots with the left hand. It's going to be a power shot fight. Pay attention to front foot placement. Pay attention to, is Teofimo gonna get cagey on the inside and just try to thwart what Josh Taylor does on the inside. But also pay attention to Josh Taylor trying to get on the inside, because what Josh Taylor will do, he's an athletic fighter. He leans on his athleticism. He's a strong fighter. But in doing so, sometimes he forgets the technique going on the inside. Won't throw the jab to get on the inside sometimes. Will keep his hands low going in. And that's Teofimo's opening. That's Teofimo. If Teofimo is going to be successful, that's where he needs to be successful. Line up the power right hand. Line it up. Do it intelligently. And you have to catch this guy coming in. You have to catch Josh Taylor coming in. You catch Josh Taylor coming in, catch him in the middle ground. Josh Taylor, you want to be on the inside. Ironically, as the bigger fighter, taller fighter, you want to be on the outside or the inside, one of the two. And Teofimo's range is in between there, and you got to catch Josh Taylor coming in, and he can do it, and I think he will do it early. He will have success with that right hand. People might say, oh, it's just lazy assessment to say it's a power hand fight and it's Josh Taylor landing the left hand versus Teofimo landing the right hand. Not necessarily, man. It's Teofimo will have his moments to land that right hand. Josh Taylor will have his moments to land his left hand. It's who's doing that more consistently. And we're going to find out early in this fight. It's like Nando said, dramatic. It's going to be dramatic. It's going to be who is going to land those big, meaningful shots early. And when they do, we're going to see how these fighters react to it. If Josh Taylor is landing flush left hands early against Teofimo and knocks him down like Kambosos knocked him down in the first round, Sandor knocked him down in the second round, this fight's over, fellas. It's over early. And how do I know that? Is Teofimo can't make the in-fight adjustments, fellas. He just can't. He can't do it. He can't do it. That's his big flaw. They don't make in-fight adjustments. And I hate to say that, but you watch the Kambosos fight and you watch the Sandor Martin fight, in between rounds is a chaotic corner. They do not make the proper adjustments. If Josh Taylor has success early in this fight, it's going to be a long night for Teofimo Lopez. But if Teofimo Lopez landing that right hand as Josh Taylor comes in, and we're starting to see vintage 2019, 2020 Teofimo Lopez, we got ourselves a fight. We got ourselves a fun fight. We got ourselves Teofimo banking some early rounds, and we're going to have a close decision as Josh Taylor makes adjustments. Or we've got Teofimo hurting Josh Taylor early, and Josh Taylor can never fully recover from it. One of the two. But I lean towards, I just think that Josh Taylor is the more reliable fighter coming into this fight, particularly at 140. Particularly at 140. Prograis versus Teofimo in New Orleans would be amazing. Hometown fighter, and there's a big Honduran community there. There is a big Honduran community here. You're looking at one here. But I don't know how many are interested in boxing, to be quite honest, because I'm not hearing good things about ticket sales for the Prograis fight. It's just New Orleans has a huge a rich boxing history, and it's just not there anymore. You want to talk about boxing being dead, it's dead here. But I hope I'm wrong next weekend and people show up for Regis. I hope so. I hope so. On that note, I'll be back tomorrow. hcpboxingtribe@gmail.com. Hit me up there. I will see y'all tomorrow. Look out for the short videos I'll be dropping later today on all the matchups this weekend. I'll be dropping multiple short form videos on the channel later on. I'm out. God bless you.